Hello and good morning, students. Welcome to your English class of today. In today's class, I'll go on to describe and explain the chapter which we picked up previously from the Diary of a Young Girl by Anne Frank. And before you continue watching this video, it's very important that you have watched the previously shared videos of the class, which was given about Anne Frank, a bit of a history, a bit of a life. It is very important to understand and to have watched all those and then to come to this video. So if you have not, I'll ask you to quickly go back. Make sure you watch those videos. You'll find all of them in your Google Classroom stream and then come back for this explanation. But if you already have, let's continue with the explanation of today. From the Diary of a Young Girl, chapter explanation. Right. So you have read the text, of course. What you have over here in the bottom paragraphs are actual screenshots or extracts from the text, and the lines on the top are kind of explanatory lines which tell you about how the story progresses. So I have about 7 to 8 slides wherein I'll take you through how the story begins and how the story ends, and at the same time I'll share a few paragraphs so it'll help you understand. The top line reads, and he starts the entry by confessing, the entry as in the diary entry, by confessing that no one would ever be interested in reading her diary. Don't you think this line is so ironical in 2020 today? Now that her diary has been translated in more than 20 languages, it is still one of the most read books in the world. Well, this is what she wrote. Writing in a diary is a really strange experience for someone like me. Not only because I have never written anything before, but also because it seems to me that later on neither I nor anyone else would be interested in the musings of a 13-year-old schoolgirl. You see, this line has a lot of impact. She never imagined, she never thought. This lets us know, this tells us that it's not what she wrote, because what she wrote were very simple. They were just observations of what happened to her life in Amsterdam. But the fact that very soon, 2 years later, she was killed in Auschwitz when the Nazi army came and captured the areas of Netherlands, where her family had shifted from Germany to Amsterdam. They were taken back through Berlin to Auschwitz. They were kept in concentration camps. She died within a few days. Her sister died because the condition in the concentration camps were very bad. They died of typhus. It's a disease when things are not clean around you. Her mother also died. It was only her father who lived, who later on came back to Amsterdam and found this diary and thought of publishing it. Continuing the explanation. Yes, paper has more patience. She feels that no one would have the patience to listen to her depression. This is what she mentions, that, I thought of this saying on one of the days when I was feeling a little depressed and was sitting at home with my chin in my hands, bored and listless, chin in my hands, bored and listless, wondering whether to stay or to go out. I'm sure this situation, you have faced it. One of the best part of this chapter, or the entire book, is that it's very relatable. If you read it, if you actually once you finish the chapter, you go onto the internet and you order the book for yourself and you decide to read the whole book, you will realize you connect to the book in so many levels. It's like, oh, she's just like me. That's the best part of the story. Things are very relatable, and what is going to happen after this, you'll also realize they're very relatable. So unless I should ever find a real friend, it probably won't make a bit of a difference. Next one, she describes that although she has a loving family, but she has no true friend. She goes on to say that, no, don't think that I don't have a loving family. I know, at the point of time when they used to live in hiding, that is, they used to live in the basement of another house so that people wouldn't know that there's a Jewish family. She used to be around her family. Let me put it very clearly, since no one will believe that a 13-year-old girl is completely alone in the world. And I'm not. I have loving parents, 16-year-old sister, about 30 people I can call friends. I have a family, loving aunts, a good home. but on the surface. So this is what she feels, okay? And you may disagree with her, but people are entitled to their feelings. If someone feels, no, I don't feel connected to a certain person, maybe he or she does not. I seem to have anything except my one true friend. I won't be surprised if some of you also find a connection with this, what she says. Maybe it's my fault that we don't confide to each other. She says maybe it's my fault that I don't share my deepest feelings with these people around me. But whatever be it, this is why I have started writing a diary. Moving on, this motivates, this situation that she has no true friend, motivates her to confide. When you confide, the word confide in this case means, to share things, secrets, or things you're uncomfortable with about people, talking in the public. So, confide to someone. You tell about your problems, your troubles. To enhance the imagination of this long-awaited friend in my imagination. But I want the diary to be my friend, and I'm going to call this friend Kitty. So if you've watched the videos that were shared in yesterday's class, this Kitty name was mentioned and it was also described. Moving on, slide number 6. She tells Kitty everything about her family members. You need to read this paragraph. Okay, I cannot be reading because, these are just facts about how they were in Frankfurt. Her father had emigrated from Holland to Frankfurt. They started to live over there. She joined school. At a point of time, she lost her grandmother and everything. She describes her friends at school and all the mischief. She had a good time in school, right? And in this paragraph, if you pause the video and you read it, you'll realize that it was the day just before the result. And they were really anxious, they were really worried whether they're going to pass or they're going to fail, and they were discussing all those things, And if you read the last paragraph, if you ask me, there are so many dummies that about a quarter of the class should be kept back. Kept back means they must be failed. They should not be allowed to go to the next class. But teachers are the most unpredictable creatures on earth. Next slide. Chatterbox. Now, this is a name that her math teacher gives to Annie because, surprise, surprise, she loves to talk a lot while the teacher is teaching. Are you one of those people? Do your teacher tell you that, hey, don't talk, I'm explaining something, hey, listen to me, hey, would you like to share that thought with me? If this has happened to you, trust me, this is like a standard phenomena all over the world. I get along pretty well with all my teachers. Mr. Keesing, the old foggy who teaches maths, was annoyed with me for ages because I talked so much. I wouldn't be surprised if some of you can actually start thinking about your own teacher. All right. So the math teacher asks her to write an essay as a punishment, a chatterbox. You know what a chattering is? Chattering is talking. All right. I'd worry about that later. So she was given a punishment. She was asked to write an essay about being a chatterbox. Now, between this part, when the math teacher gives her this essay of writing about a chatterbox, she writes a really good chatterbox and later on blames her mother. She says that my mother is a chatterbox, so I am a chatterbox. She's really smart that way, right? He says because my mom talks a lot and I inherited that from my mom. I cannot help it. I've got to be a chatterbox. She submits it to Mr. Keesing. He gives her 2 more essays, which you need to read and find out what happens. It's very interesting. And towards the end of the 3rd essay, a friend of her helped her to write that essay in the form of a poem, all right, in the form of a verse, which you need to read. It's there. You really need to, because and understand, in class 10, unless you have read the chapter yourself, any explanation, any summary, nothing is going to help. It's going to be useless. Well, we have come to the end. So this is what happens. A poem to the class, poem as in the last essay was written as a poem, adding his own comments and to several other classes as well. So what Mr. Keesing did was, he got the Chatterbox essay, he got it back from Anne, and he read that to other classes as well, not just her class, but he also went along to other classes and read that. Since then, I have been allowed to talk, and haven't been assigned any extra homework. Quite a victory, huh? On the contrary, Mr. Keesing always making. On the contrary, Mr. Keesing is, this is a short form, Keesing is always making jokes these days. Well, I mean, her math teacher became very, very, very easy kind of a person. Yours and extract from the diary of a young girl with slight adaptation. So I've done my best to explain you how the story, how this chapter progresses, what it starts with, what it ends with. But if you do not read the chapter yourself, nothing is going to make sense. Again, before I end this video, please make sure you go and watch the videos of the previous class. You'll find all of them on your Google Classroom stream. Well, that's all for today. Thanks for watching.